Again, thank you for being here today. We are continuing today with our exploration of the 12 powers of man, which our co-founder Charles Fillmore discerned and delineated for us. These 12 powers of our divine nature, our divine self, of course, shows up in many different ways, but he defined 12 of them that we can use, we can awaken to, and use in our lives through our human experience to create, to demonstrate in the world. And what I want to go back to again and again and again is that the intention is to use those powers in service to our divine nature, our Christ nature, as we call it in Unity, our spark of God, our divine self. And so as we use those powers in service to the highest and best good for our own lives and for all humanity, I want to stress that that is my focus, that we use our powers for that purpose. Today I'm going to be talking about the power of love. And it's not about an emotion. It's not about something we feel for each other. We're talking about a power, a faculty that we have. I just got back on Friday from a week at the Unity South Central Region Conference in Breckenridge. I know it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it, right? And I always come back from those conferences or conventions reignited, re-inspired about our movement and about what we in Unity can do in the world. If and when we are willing to step into our divinity, as Reverend Linda in her book Divine Audacity encourages us to do. To claim it, to own it, and to live it. And that we, if we truly do that, we can change the world. Do you believe that? Yes. We can help others, and we can create a world that works for everybody. I believe that. I believe that. But it takes our willingness not to just learn about our principles, not just read all the books, not just sit in these chairs on Sunday morning. It takes our willingness to claim it, to align to it, and to embrace it for ourselves. It takes our willingness to stop doubting, to stop talking about our limitations, and really live it. I think that's what I know. I know that's what our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore did. Again, I love this picture, right? Because it shows what I envision as our divine self and our human self expressing together in the world. And all these colors are those powers. We talk about each of the powers having a different color as well. So that's who we are. But I also wanted to remind us of what Unity's fifth principle says. Knowledge of spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. Unity's fifth principle. We must really embrace that. And I believe that's really what our co-founders were teaching and what we did. And Unity is a movement that can, if we truly live those principles, change the world. Now, there's another slide that talks about what Charles Fillmore said about unity, and I want just to remind us 2 slides over. He said, unity is a link in the great educational movement inaugurated by Jesus Christ. Our objective is to discern the truth in Christianity and prove it. The truth that we teach is not new. Neither do we claim special revelations or discovery of new religious principles. Our purpose is to help and teach mankind to use and prove the eternal truth taught by the Master. We're not talking about new truth. We're not talking about any kind of idea about a new revelation. We're talking about a revelation that occurs within us of the truth. A revelation that we can embrace for ourselves, that we too are the divine. We believe that's what the master teacher Jesus was teaching. You too are divine. The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of God is now. But as it says in the Gospel of Thomas, the kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth, but we don't see it. We have to open our eyes to be willing to see it. And that's what we're talking about with these powers, that we can embrace those powers. So today, again, I'm talking about love and the idea of the power of love. Now, the power of love, as we've talked about, all the powers are associated with the body. The power of love is associated with the heart space. They're around the thymus gland. And it is a color of pink. And so it's a color of bright pink. So before I talk any more about it, I would like for us to do our affirmation together, which is all the U.S. card inside your bulletin if you'd like to read that, or you can read the screen up here. But somebody, I don't know who brought the flowers today. Thank you, Cherie and Wayne. Beautiful pink flowers today. Thank you for that. And so imagine, if you can look at the color of pink here, and just imagine the color pink radiating in your heart. Take a breath. Breathe into your heart. See the color pink radiating there right at the center of your being. I invite you to open your eyes and read this with me. I breathe into my heart space and envision a soft pink light. I activate my power of love. Centered in love, I see all with the eyes of the Christ. We are one. I bring harmony to my world as I align my thoughts, words, and actions to love. I attract myself to people, places, and circumstances for the sake of love. I am love. I am love. So Reverend Linda, in her book, talks about love as that power, that aspect, the capacity within us that allows us to magnetize, to harmonize, and to unify. To magnetize, to harmonize, and to unify. I want to begin with the last. Unify. When we breathe into that power of love, we awaken within us an awareness of our oneness, our unity in the divine, in God. And when we know our unity in the divine, in that one power and one presence that is in and through all, we have to then know our oneness with each other. Our oneness with each other, which awakens us, as she says in the book, to communion, to compassion, and to empathy. It awakens us to communion, compassion, and empathy. Because I know in that moment Say that with me. I am, you are, I am. Feel that. I am the I am that I am. Yes? You are the I am, and I am you, and you are I. Yeah? And when we know that, how can we possibly not open up? If I know myself as the I am, and I know you as the I am, then we connect heart to heart beyond any idea that we're different or separate. I had an interesting experience with that not long before I moved from Texas. I was invited to conduct a service at, I guess it's probably the largest funeral home, cemetery in the area in Dallas. And they invite all the families that they have served for a 6-month period. Every 6 months they do these services. And they invite families that they have served to come to this service. And I had the honor of officiating one of those services. And it was one of those, it's about the size of an auditorium, but it was one of those where the podium is like way up. So the minister who stands there, and so I felt a little uncomfortable about that, because I like to be closer. I like to connect. But it gave me a great perspective. And I was so touched when I looked out and I saw the faces of people, all nationalities. Probably all religions were represented there, where many of them were represented there. Different colors of people, faces, skin colors. And I was just touched at our oneness. That we all shared that same experience of loss and grief. It's common to our humanity. And it was a wonderful experience for me just to look beyond, to really let go of my idea that they might not like what I had to say, or they might not relate to what I had to say, and just be the presence in that place. I did it to the best of my ability. I don't know how well I did it. But just to be there, to be the presence, and to connect with them heart to heart. And so love is our ability to know our oneness, to know our unity with God, with the allness that is, and to know our truth. Reverend Linda also says it is our ability to harmonize, to bring our thoughts and our feelings and our actions, our words, into harmony with our divine self. I believe our divine self, our soul, our essence, resonates at a particular frequency. I don't know what tone that would be, but it resonates at a particular frequency, I believe. And it's constantly in that place of resonance. And yet sometimes our thinking is out of alignment, disharmony, dissonant with that. So Kath, would you come up and let's demonstrate that? I want to kind of demonstrate to you the way I see this working, because what I believe is that we feel it. Don't you feel when you're out of alignment with your divine essence? Your divine nature, you kind of feel the tension of that. When you're judging somebody else or judging yourself or talking limiting things, you feel the dissonance with that. Sometimes I think we've gotten so accustomed to it that we think it's normal, that we think it's natural. We've gotten so comfortable with it. And so it's important for us to be aware of when we are out of alignment, in dissonance with that. And so I just invited Kath. I was going to try this. We haven't tried this before, so this is an experiment. How pretty is that? Isn't that painful? Isn't it painful when you recognize the dissonance? It creates tension, right? Do it again. You see? Simply with intention, right? Thank you, Kat. With our willingness to change something, we can bring our frequency into harmony. But we have to be willing to notice it, to be aware of it. So that's why I think it's so important for us to spend time in meditation and contemplation and prayer so that we really connect with the vibration or the frequency of our divine self, our soul, our essence, because it is always resonating in a particular frequency. And yet my thoughts, my actions, my words are often not in alignment with that. And I think that it's interesting what we're noticing in our country these days. That things seem to be out of alignment. I see you laughing, yeah? Is that a nervous laugh? Tension? Disharmony? Discord? That a lot of that is coming from that place of misalignment, from fear. But what I really appreciate about that, because I could get caught up in it. You know, I can, watching the news or watching programs or watching things like that, I can get caught up in that negativity, and I don't like that. And I feel it. And I think that we're either part of the solution or we're part of the problem. And so it's our choice. But I think that when we're talking about the power of love, that the power of love, as Reverend Linda says in her book, is our power to magnetize, to attract. And I think the power of love is so strong within us, that resonance is so alive and active and strong within us, that it attracts to us what we need to know, what we need to see, what we need to witness, so that we can realign ourselves. That what we really want is love. What we really want is to know ourselves as the divine. And so, believe it or not, you and I, and everyone who lives in this country, is a part of this collective consciousness called America. We are all a part of it. This collective consciousness that we call America. And you know what? I'm choosing to see it differently because I'm choosing to be excited about what's going on in our country today. I just made that decision the other day. I'm choosing to be excited because it is revealing to us, if we're willing to open our eyes and our ears, it is revealing to us how out of alignment we are in this country with the power of love. We are not blaming it on a particular party, a particular candidate, anybody but us. It's us. We are the ones who are bringing this up. And you know what? I love both of them. I really do now, today. I love both of them. Because they are willing to show up. Aren't they? They're willing to show up and demonstrate to us how far out of alignment we have gotten. And you know what? We are responsible not for the whole world, not for the whole consciousness of America, but you and I are responsible for our own consciousness. Are we buying into the fear and the discord? Are we buying into the judgment and the criticism? Are you criticizing the candidate that is not of your party? Stop it. Are you saying a lot of words of judgment against the candidate that is not of your party? Stop it. Because as you do that, you're buying into the fear of what's going on. You are bringing yourself into alignment with what you do not want. Somebody said in our conference this week, when you damn something, it damns you back. When you have the energy of damnation, guess who gets damned? You do. And so I invite us to open up to the power of love that harmonizes, brings together, draws us into harmony and unity. Because I really do believe, that is what is showing up for us. And it's our opportunity to wake up. To wake up and to change our own lives. To be aware of what you're feeling. Do you know when I watch the news sometimes, man, I can get so into my own thoughts of judgment. But I feel it. It's not pleasant. It's painful. It's painful. So I'm the one who's suffering. So, pay attention to what you're saying, to what you're thinking, because it's showing up for us in a big way these days, a big way. When we don't know our unity, when we deny our oneness, we criticize each other. We mistreat each other. We speak of each other with disdain. And I think it's important for us in this room can make a big difference. If we're willing to ignite that power of love within us and know that everything that comes into our lives, now really hear this, everything that comes into our lives that creates pain or discomfort for us is a gift. It's a gift. Because it allows us to check in with ourselves. Where am I out of alignment? How can I know myself as divine love? How can I know myself as the Christ? And then how can I choose to see that and to share that? Again, I'm not telling you that I'm supporting one candidate or the other. That's not my job here. But what I do like is that phrase that says, when they go low, we go high. Let's keep our vision raised up with love so that we're not part of the problem, but part of the solution. Because that's how we're going to change the world. As Gandhi said, be the change. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Don't ask somebody else to do it. It's up to us. And the power of love is a power that brings us into that. So So there's one more slide I want to show you before I close. It's not, can we advance to that last slide, please? This is a quote from New Thought teacher Emma Curtis Hopkins, when she said, "This too is good. This too is God. This too is for me. And I demand to see the good in it." Say that with me, if you will. This too is good. This too is God. This too is for me, and I demand to see the good in it. All right, you got to stand up for this one. And I want you to demand to see the good in it, okay? Let's say it together. This too is good. This too is God. This too is for me, and I demand to see the good in it. And so it is.